Hey everyone, and welcome back to TechHaki. In today's video, we are going to learn about loops in C. It's a fundamental concept in programming. So what are loops? Before knowing what are loops, let me just show you something. Let's say we want to print hello world. Hello world. Now, what if we want to print hello world 5 times? So we can just copy and paste this. 3, 4, and 5. Save, compile it, and here we have it, our hello world printed 5 times. But what if I tell you to print hello world 100 times or 1,000 times? So using the copy and paste method 5 times is okay, but it is not efficient to do the same thing to print the same hello world for 1,000 times or 2,000 times. So this is where loops come in. So let me just show you how loops can change our code. Let's just comment this out. And you might not understand this right now, but just look at it. I'll just explain it to you after. For I equals 0, and this is it. So believe it or not, this block of code does the same thing that this block of code does. So this code prints the hello world 5 times too. You don't believe it? Let's just check it out. Let's just check the output. So let's compile this. And there it is. Hello world printed 5 times. So how did this happen? So this was possible using the for loops. Let's just say now we want to print hello world 10 times. We'll just make a minor change here, go back, and there it is. We have hello world printed 10 times. So how did this happen? So what you just saw there was loops. It was a for loop. So here we have the topic loops in C. So what are loops basically? Loops are basically used to run a block of code multiple times. Loops are run a block of code multiple times. So there are 3 types of loops in C. The first one being for loop, the one that we just saw in the code. Next is while loop, and the third is do while loop. Let's just check it out one by one. So first of all, for loop. The syntax for loop is for initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. And here we write our code, and this is it. So what is initialization? Here we are initializing a variable to track our for loop. Here is the condition. So a loop runs till a condition is met. So here we write our condition and then the increment or decrement. So let me just show you the code we just wrote there for printing our hello world 5 times. For I equals 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. So here I equals 0 is the initialization. So we are initializing our variable I with 0. And then the condition is I less than 5, which means the loop will run till the condition I less than 5 is true. As soon as this condition becomes false, the loop stops running. And the third one, we have our condition is incrementing the value of I. So this I plus plus is a shorthand for I is equal to I plus 1. So let me just show you how this code is actually functioning. So first we have I equals 0. So next it will check if I is less than 5. So our I is 0, which is less than 5. So this condition becomes true, and this statement gets printed. That is, our printf statement gets executed. Then after executing the code present inside the curly braces, the I will get incremented. That is, I is equal to I plus 1, which is 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So our value of I becomes 1. Next, our I is equal to 1. So it will check the condition again. Is our I less than 5? Yes, it is. So it will print again. The printf statement will be executed again, and the value of I will be incremented from 1. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Then our I is equal to 2. I is less than 5. Yes, it is true. Again, printf. Increment the value of I. I is 2 plus 1 is equals 3. I is 3. So is I less than 5? Yes, it is. Then print it again. Increment I equals 3 plus 1 equals 4. Now for I is equal to 4, I less than 5, yes, it is true. Do the same thing. I is equal to 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. So here it comes, I is equal to 5. So is I less than 5? I is equal to 5, which is not less than 5. So this condition becomes false and we come out of the loop. So if we show it here, first our I is equal to 0. It will check the condition if I less than 5. Yes. Then it will come here. It will execute this statement, this block of code inside the curly braces, and then it will come here, increment the value of I. So our I this time becomes 0 plus 1 is 1. So for I equals 1, then it will check the condition again. If I is less than 5, yes, it is true. So it will come again here. It will print the block of statement inside the curly braces. Then it will go and increment the value of I again. This time our I will become 2. So is I less than 5? Yes, it is true. It will come back again here and then increment again. I becomes 3. Condition is true. It will come and print this again. Increment. I becomes 4. Condition is true. Execute this. Increment again. And then our I becomes 5. So is I, that is 5 less than 5? This is not true. So we come out of the loop. Out of the loop. So this is where our loop stops. So I hope the concept of for loop is clear. So next time, if we want to print hello world like 100 times or 1,000 times, what we have to do is we just change here from 5 if we want to print. So if you want to print hello world or whatever the block of code be. Say we want to execute that block of code 100 times. So we just do I less than 100 since we are starting from 0. Okay, let me tell you this, that in C programming, our indexing starts from 0. It goes like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we always start with 0. And that is why we use I less than 100. So this way our code gets executed 100 times and then it stops. So if you want to execute our code 1,000 times, then we just do this 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever. So I hope for loop is clear. Coming on to the next, we have while loops. So the basic syntax of while loop is first initialize our variable, next while condition our block of code, and increment or decrement, and curly braces closed. So this is how our while loop looks like. So first of all, we'll initialize our variable here, we'll check our condition here, and if our condition is true, we will execute this block of code. So this code gets executed, our value gets incremented or decremented, and it comes back to checking the condition again. So this is how our while loops work. So let me just explain you with the help of a code. So let's just say I equals 0 while I less than 5, printf %d, and let's just print the value of I, and I plus plus, we're just incrementing the value of I here. So first of all, our value of I is 0. So we come to check the condition here. Is 0 less than 5? The condition is true, so we come here. So value of I gets printed, that is 0, and I gets incremented, so I becomes, from 0 it becomes 1. So now I value is 1. We come back to check the condition. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is true. It executes this, prints the value of I, that is 1. Then increment the value of I, our I becomes 2. It comes to check the condition, is 2 less than 5? Yes. So it prints the value of I again, 2, and then it increments I. So our I value becomes 3. So is 3 less than 5? Yes. It prints the value again, increments I. So our I becomes 4. Is 4 less than 5? Yes. It prints the value of I again and increments I. So this time our I value becomes 5. Now, is 5 less than 5? The condition is false, and so we come out of the loop. And this is how we come out of the loop, and the loop finally stops. So here we got our output, that is our code executed 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 times. So this is how our while loop works. Let me just show you this in the code. Let me just comment this out. So while loop, initializing I equals 0, our initialization, while I less than 5, printf %d. So here we are printing the value of I, and then increment I. So let's just save. Here. So this is the exact output that we got. So let's say we want, so this code has been executed 5 times. So this was our condition, I less than 5. Since we wanted this code to execute it 5 times, we did this. Say we want to execute this code 10 times. Let's just say 10. Compile this and run here. Since our indexing is starting from 0, we get our output up to 9. So our code has executed 10 times. So this is how loops make our code more efficient, by not repeating the same things again and again. Now let's understand do-while loops. So do-while loops are similar to while loops, but we just have some minor changes in the do-while loop. So let's look at the syntax. First is initialization, do, code, increment or decrement, and here we have while condition. So in do while loops, we do the initialization first, we run the code, increment the value, and then check the condition. So let's understand this with a code. Let's just use the same code. I equals 0, printing the value of I plus plus, and while I is less than 5. So first our I is equal to 0. Do printf the value of I, 0 will be printed. Increment the value of I becomes 1. Now it comes here and checks the condition. Is 1 less than 5? Yes. So it comes back here. It prints the value of I again. This time I is 1. It increments again. I becomes 2. It checks the condition again. 2 less than 5? Yes, it is true. It comes back here and executes this. Print the value of I, that is 2. Increment it. So I becomes 3. Check the condition again. 3 less than 5? Yes, it is true. So come back here. Execute this again. Our value of I is 3. Increment it. Value of I becomes 4. Come here again. It prints 4 and increment the value. So our value of I becomes 5 this time. Comes here to check the condition. Is 5 less than 5? No, the condition is false. And here is where our loop stops. So this is the output that we get. We got the same output for the while loop too. But there is a major difference between the while loop and the do while loop. In a while loop, if the condition is false, then the loop won't execute even once. But in a do while loop, even if the condition is false, the loop executes at least once. So let's see how it's happening. So let's say we have I is equal to 5. Instead of 0, we have I is equal to 5. So it will come here without checking the condition. It will execute this code and our value of I, that is 5, will get printed and I will get incremented, that is 5 becomes 6, and then this condition is checked. So is I less than 5? That is 6 less than 5? No, the condition is not true. So this is where the loop stops. At first our value of I is 5 and our condition is if while I less than 5. So at the very beginning our condition was false, but still our code got executed at least once. So this is the major difference between a while and a do while loop. I hope you understood do while loops. Now let's understand it in the code. Let's just comment this out. Int I equals 0 for the initialization. So do printf %d I plus plus, and then while I is less than 5 here. So our loop, which is condition is I less than 5, our loop is getting executed 5 times. We have the output here. But what if our condition is false at the very beginning? Let's say I equals 5, save, and let's just run it again. So this time only 5 was printed. I was 5, no condition was checked, and this code was executed. The value of I, that is 5, was printed. I incremented. After that the condition was checked if 6 is less than 5, which is not true, so the loop stops. I hope you understood the concepts of loops clearly. Now there's one more important thing that you need to know is when to use which loop. So you use the for loop when you know the exact number of iterations. You use while loop when you don't know the exact number of iterations, but it's based on a condition. And you use do while loops when you want the loop to execute at least once. That is, your condition may be false, but yet you want it to execute at least once. I hope you understood the concepts of loop clearly. If you have any questions or suggestions for improvement, feel free to comment down below. As I'm still learning and improving, I'd love to get feedback from you guys. And that's it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more awesome tech content. Till then, let's TechHaki.